We're at our garage and test facility. Let's see what we're going to roll out the door today. Looks like we got ourselves a 2022 Honda Civic. Most popular small sedans on the planet, next to the Toyota Corolla. Both nice cars. But today it's going to be for the Honda. The base price of a Civic runs $23,000. This is the touring model, which costs a wee bit more, as we'll see by the price sheet. And this is the vehicle all maxed out. In all fairness, there are no options with the touring model. Everything's standard. Way too much stuff to list here. It's made in Canada for those who care about that stuff. We also did a one-week test drive on the Honda Accord Hybrid. If you're interested in that, we'll have that video at the end of this video. Just go there and click and watch. And we also did a video with the Honda Civic Type R, what a hot rod that was. We have a link for that video at the end of this video as well. For your base $23,000, you get a 2.0 liter 4-cylinder motor, 158 horsepower, rate 33 mpg in the city, 42 on the highway. But in this upgraded touring, we get a 1.5 turbo, 180 horsepower, rate 31 in the city, 38 on the highway. And for you people who don't like those ugly plastic engine covers, here you go. Nothing covering this up. You can see all the wiring and hookups, and looks like a bunch of spaghetti on a plate. Be taking this out in the real world, getting the real world fuel economy figures, so don't go away. On some Honda vehicles, you get the push-button transmission control, which is far superior to the stick we're seeing here, but it's a cost factor. And this is a CVT transmission, the only one you can get on the Civic. Unless you get the hatchback, then you can get a 6-speed manual. Now, if you're in a hurry, you can use the paddle shifters on the steering wheel to choose the gears yourself. Simulated gears. CVTs don't really have gears in the normal sense. Or there is a drive mode control offering sport, normal, or eco. Take your pick. All of our driving will be in normal unless I say otherwise. I don't use eco mode. And one of the first things we do when we get a vehicle is look under the floor here and see if there's a spare tire. Most of them don't come with spare tires anymore, and yeah, we sure do. I remember this is the deluxe model. Maybe on the lower cost Civic you don't get one. I don't know. And the second thing we do is take the headlights out in the dark and see how they work. We're doing that later on in the video during our road test. But first we're going to look at the cabin. Our brainless government bureaucrats rate cars in this class as 5 passengers, 2 in the front, 3 in the rear, which is nonsense. You're not going to get more than 2 full-size adults back here, although they will be reasonably comfortable. 3 small kids, 3 monkeys, or 5 dogs. I'm not picking a Honda here. All the vehicles in this size, pretty much the same thing. One thing I don't like, the rocker panels are exposed to the outside just a wee bit. Down here, water and mud can seep up here, so if you live in a climate where there's a lot of snow and dirt, this might get on your pants. Might want to keep it clean. This is a pretty small glove box. You might want to take the paperwork out and stick it in the trunk with a spare tire area. Interesting, the door of the glove box is about as thick as the room on the inside. Strange feature. The gauge cluster is well designed. The sun visors slide back and forth to keep the sun out the side windows. A lot of cars, the sun visors can't do this. Nice to know we can do it in the Civic. The finger touch controls are pretty easy to use. Very simple climate controls, 3 knobs, a few buttons. An interesting vent design going all the way across. Overall, this is a pretty nice cabin that was slightly redesigned for 2022. I have no complaints. And I'm told the outside was totally redesigned, although I can see some minor changes. I don't see that much difference myself, but to me, Honda Civics and Toyota Corollas all look alike. That's just me. Maybe you'll notice some differences. Pretty decent looking vehicle, either way though. That being said, show and tell is over. Second half, we're going to do some driving and check these headlights out. And when we get to the stoplight, I won't have to worry about the engine shutting off with the start-stop system because you can disconnect it by pushing this button here, which I do every time I get in. I'm impressed with the power steering. Quick, responsive, decent feel and feedback. By the way, this is a front-wheel drive car, not available with all-wheel drive. So pretty much all Civics will be like this one as far as steering goes, which is very good. As we do in all of our videos, we're going to take some mild speed humps at 15 miles per hour. See how the suspension performs on impact. Here comes number one. Reasonably soft. Number two. Yeah, it didn't feel too much. Number three. Same, here comes the nasty one. Yeah, it's still pretty comfortable. I've been looking at the fuel economy numbers since we had this in the fleet. First trip, 324 miles, 33.5, and then 527, 34.3, 525 at 32.3, and mine in mixed commuting, 133 miles in commuted city driving at 28.8 mpg. So let's reset everything to 0 and take a highway trip, see what we get. Traffic is very nasty today. On this Sunday afternoon, I had to pass dozens and dozens of cars because they're slowpokes and drunks and everybody else. So since I've had my pedal to the metal, I don't think my fuel economy is going to be as good as it could be. When we pull over, it should be interesting to see what the final number is. I don't think I'm going to reach 35 mpg like I thought. Well, 32.6, pardon me, 32.5. Not as good as I expected, but we saw the other figures, so the potential is there if you drive slow and don't pass everybody on the planet. We're going to do another highway trip at night with lighter traffic. See if we can bump up the numbers a bit. And on this trip, we kept it under 70 miles per hour because it's a short urban area, so I'm sure the numbers will be better. Knock on wood. Alright, on the average, I was keeping it pretty close to 60-65 since we're in an urban area. Better be getting at least 40 mpg or I'm not going to be too happy. Well, 42.4 can be done. Alright, it's dark enough. Let's see what these do. A lot of bulbs in there. Got the low beams on. The left side's on, right side's on. Oops, that doesn't work. Now in the right setting, we have all three sections going full blast instead of two. And here's what the people in the rearview mirror will be looking at. Pretty bright, very wide. And put the transmission in reverse. Here's what the rear view looks like. Let's see what other choices we have here. The gauge cluster lights up pretty good. And this isn't an expensive car, not too many bells and whistles, but everything's lit up pretty good. And here we have the low beams, only about 100 feet away. Seems bright enough, not very high. Go to high beam, certainly strong in the middle. And here are the low beams on a fence 80 yards away that we can't see, and a building 130 yards we can't see, but it does barely reach out to the fence line. Now we go to the high beams. Nothing fantastic, but more than adequate. Overall, these are pretty good lights, especially considering the price class we're dealing with. Although the cost doesn't always mean you're getting something better. You know, this gas station, which is out in the middle of nowhere, 50 miles from the nearest town, has been closed forever, but The interior lights are still on. Makes me wonder who's paying the bill. In the meantime, what do I think of the Honda Civic? Well, it's like this. The Honda Civic and the Toyota Corolla are two competitors that have ruled the market forever. Both well built, both run forever, reasonably priced. And you take your pick, the Toyota or the Honda. Both pretty good choices to me. So here's some links to other Hondas we've driven. Just go there and click and watch. And subscribe. I need the money. Patreon too.